At long last, it has happened as predicted by Donald Trump just a couple of weeks ago, and looking like it wasn't gonna happen for some time. Donald Trump is facing literally dozens of indictments, although we don't have all the information just yet. I wanna show you what we've, I think, all been waiting to happen for a long time. Take a look at this front page of the New York Times, Trump indicted. And what I love about it is that it's not specific. I mean, once you go down to like the smaller text, they do mention that it's about the hush money payments that were paid to Stormy Daniels, which one man, Michael Cohen has already spent years in prison for. But we all sort of knew on some level that we were working towards that headline, right? We didn't know if it was gonna be for the perfect phone call with Ukraine or Fulton County or January 6th or God knows what else, but we knew it was coming. And now we're waiting for the next big step, which is apparently gonna happen relatively early Eastern time next Tuesday. Donald Trump is apparently going to surrender. He apparently was ready to do it today, but they weren't ready for him. And anyway, he's gonna be processed. He'll be fingerprinted. There will probably be a mug shot at that point. Our graphics team will no longer have to be producing our own, although we have enjoyed that process quite a bit. The charges will be presented against Donald Trump at that point, the 34 different indictments that the grand jury has put forward. And at that point, he could enter a plea, although his legal team, at least so far, is saying that that will not happen because there's no crime. Brett, what do you think? Were you shocked when it came down the Twitter pike?
If there is a whiff of Trump going to jail, prison, then they will do a plea deal because they can justify anything except Trump going into a federal prison or a state prison facility or wherever the hell he'd end up. They would want to avoid that for two reasons: one, the optics of it, and two, just he'd be terrified and sad and in danger theoretically in prison. Not that he would really encounter the full brunt of federal prison. But it is, am I happy that he was indicted over this? I don't care. I can't care until they actually tell me what the indictment was for. Now, if the indictment was for something that other people have actually served prison time for, then I'll say, well, two things. One, this wasn't politically motivated because when Michael Cohen went to prison, he went to prison under a Donald Trump Department of Justice. And Donald Trump's own Department of Justice has therefore declared that this is a crime you should go to jail for. And then I would just love to sit back and watch them try to justify why he shouldn't go to jail.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the consistency. You had largely had this sort of position, I think it was last Friday. And as I've said, as many of our guests over the last 2 weeks have said, if it were up to us, the thing that he'd be indicted for amongst the sampler platter of crimes that he's clearly committed, we would have probably chosen a different one, potentially probably something having to do with trying to manipulate the election in Georgia or the fake elector scheme, or maybe something having to do with launching a violent coup attempt. It'd be those sorts of things. But of course, as with everything else in American politics, it is not up to me. It's not up to us. So this is what we've got. I too await hearing what is in those 34. 34 seems like a lot. It feels like that can cover a lot of ground. We don't know if any of the specific charges will be the same as what Michael Cohen went to prison for. But it is interesting that like someone has already spent time in prison for this. So clearly there's something illegal going on. The question will be, will he go down for the same? Because after all, his actions were not the same actions as Michael Cohen. Michael Cohen did the direct criming, but he did it at the direction of Donald Trump.
And that proves that wanting to crime and signing on to a crime are things that Donald Trump has, according to precedent, previous trials, he has done, or previous legal proceedings, he has done that. He is on record of having done that. It's just an argument by Republicans that either A, once you've become president, you're above the law, which good luck with that. None of them have ever said that as they're chanting things like lock her up, or basically saying that no one's above the law. Or two, that he's just so good at putting other people between him and the direct action of crime that we should let him get away with it. In what world? In a world where they say that Soros is masterminding a giant communist world move, like they want him to be locked up. They want Bill Gates to be locked up. In what world do you not want masterminds to be locked up? That's a double standard. And that means that as these people are crying that justice is done in America, they're also arguing that they don't want justice in America. They want to pull the blindfold off, and they want Lady Justice who's holding the scales to look at everybody's bank account and resume before deciding whether they should prosecute. And that is BS. That shouldn't be the case.
Yeah, and look, we're gonna get into the inconsistency a little bit later on when we give their responses, but the fact that they continually ping pong between literally any charges, anything about any allegations are unacceptable against Donald Trump. It's just political. Also, every member of the Biden family should be immediately locked up, including Biden and also Hillary Clinton. Like there's no principle there, or certainly not an explicitly stated principle. There is a principle that there are people should get away with crimes and the people they hate shouldn't. Whereas our principle, I think, I don't want to speak for you, is if you've broken the law, you should suffer the consequences regardless of what party you're a part of.
Yeah. I'm with you. And it's also the Republicans have indicted a president before. He was just in office, essentially, when they impeached Bill Clinton. Like they went after it for what, covering up a sex act?
Well, how is that relevant to Donald Trump being indicted for covering up a sex act? So anyway, again, like, man, if this is your first day at the Damage Report, first of all, welcome. Subscribe. If this is your first day following American politics, let me just say that if you have come here looking for consistency, then you've come to the wrong place, because all we've got on offer is hypocrisy, unfortunately.